Where you were born and...
I was born in Barney Hospital
Okay.
in 1922.
Where's Bonnie Doon Hospital?
I think it might be gone now, but it was on the way up to the other hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were all born in Bonnie Doon bar Gordon. Gordon was born to Alstonville.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can remember 1926.
Yeah.
That's where I started school.
Yeah.
And I went to school there till 31.
This was, where did you go to school? You at?
Wallingbar.
At Wallingbar, okay.
Yeah.
And that's, I think we've got a picture of that with the dairy beside the road up there still.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And we went from Wallingbar to Springgrove.
Yes.
I went to Springgrove School for a couple of years. Then we moved to Caniba, and we were there for, I think, 3-4 years.
Okay.
I got my first job when I was there.
Okay.
At $5 a week.
Okay, and what was that job?
Milking cow, 20 cows, night and morning.
Okay.
They come home from school and milk at 20. They always had 20 waiting for you.
Okay.
Yeah. And we moved from Caniba to Wadeville.
Yep.
At Harold Fredericks' place at Wadeville.
Yep.
We was only there for 12 months, and then we moved to Swan Bay, and I was there till wartime, 1942.
Okay, so you moved to Swan Bay in 1942?
Swan Bay, we moved to Swan Bay in 37.
37, okay.
37.
Okay, all right. Let's just go back to when you went to school at, first went to school. What was school like at that stage of the proceeding? Yeah?
Well, everybody seemed to be obedient. The only one that wasn't obedient was my sister Bonnie. Because I can remember the teacher saying to her, "You better come out and I'll give you the cane now, save giving it to you later on." That's the exact words he said.
Is that right?
Mr. Carson was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, what while everyone was obedient in school, which maybe it's a bit different to today, what other things do you remember about school, particularly at that time?
Oh, I can remember sport we played there all the time.
Yeah.
Cricket and football.
Yeah.
And we used to play hockey.
Okay.
The cricket pitch was straight opposite, so we had a cricket pitch to play on.
Yeah.
Yes. And we used to go fishing some Sundays.
Yeah.
I'd go down in Old Sulky with half a dozen kids down to Boat Harbour.
Okay.
Fishing for mullet, yeah.
Okay. All right. So after you moved on there you went to
Springgrove.
Springgrove after that. That was only a couple of years at Springgrove. That must have been when the Depression was on.
Yeah.
What were conditions like at that stage of the proceedings? Were they?
Well, we seemed to live.
Yeah.
But I can remember the chap that owned the farm was going to do a bit of painting. So he was stopping at our place for tea. And Mum made lemon butter. We had lots of lemon trees.
Yeah.
He made lemon butter for him to have on his bread. And you wouldn't want to know, he didn't like lemon butter. So he finished up with syrup.
Yes.
That's fair dinkum, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Mum was saying she can remember people coming up from Sydney and living up on the hill and those things around at that stage during the Depression. Do you remember any of that sort of thing? People knocking on the door and after a feed during the Depression?
Oh yeah, well at Wallingbar they were pretty prevalent then even.
Yeah.
You know, always a swaggy on the road.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember the chap from Alstonville was taking a big mob of cattle through from Lismore.
Yeah.
And he gave me 6pence to stand out on the road and block the cattle while he brought the stragglers up behind.
Okay.
And that was a fortune.
Yes.
You could get a penny for an empty cordial bottle in those days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was never any cordial bottles lying around.
No. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So you were mentioning before you remembered your grandparents. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about what you remember of them and where they lived at that stage of the proceedings.
Well, they were, what I first remember was in 26 they were living on great-grandfather Roberts' farm at Alphaverdale,
Yes.
where the church is. That church ground was provided by my great-grandfather,
Okay.
where the church is.
Okay. That's great-grandfather Roberts?
Roberts, yes.
Okay.
And I can remember the granny and grandfather pretty well because we were there pretty often.
Yep.
Went there. Even when they moved to Boat Harbour, it was a great place for fishing, so
Okay.
we went down there for lots of trips. I have one little bit of a thing to tell you about the farm at Wallingbar. There was a dozen macadamia trees on it,
Okay.
and each year they were pulled. We used to help them pull them,
Yep.
and they put them through the old corn sheller.
Okay.
Took the husk off them.
Yep.
Then they were put in bags. I remember them stamping the bags, and Durley Ware would take them in and put them on the wharf in Lismore, and they'd go by boat
Is
to
that right?
Sydney.
Okay.
So that's how early.
Were they trees that they'd planted, or they were just wild ones that are on the farm?
No, they had been planted.
Okay.
They were in row.
Okay.
6 trees each row.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it goes back a long way, doesn't it?
That's right.
What
That's
comes around goes around.
Yeah, that's what I say. They talk about new thing in macadamians. Well, you can go back, well, I can remember 1928, when they were sending them to Sydney, so
Yeah.
I can remember that as well, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So there was great-grandfather Roberts. Where was your grandfather at that stage of the proceedings? Was he living on the farm too, or was he somewhere else?
Grandfather Roberts wasn't living on the farm at that stage.
Okay.
The Sauls were living on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was living in Balna.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were farmers?
Originally, yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. I remember Mum's brother cutting cordwood.
Yeah.
Things that long, and the old horse and cart, and carted from Alphadale to the butter factory at Alstonville.
Okay. Well, what is cordwood?
Well, when they cut it in cords, they call it a cord,
Okay.
a length.
Okay.
And they cut it in that, was used in the boilers
Okay.
instead of coal.
Okay.
So we used to cut
Yeah.
all that wood and take it there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The farm that you lived on at that stage was, from what I can gather and what Mum was relating to, was maybe not the best land and probably not the best farm around the place.
No, the farm was on Wallingbar.
Yeah.
No, it was all red soil,
Yeah.
and the only thing that grew really well was dandelions.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it had 3 little patches of original scrub on it.
Okay.
See, them farms around that Wallingbar, if you could just search around them, you'll find out, unless they've been taken out. But on each farm, they left a little clump of the original scrub,
Okay.
the big scrub.
Okay.
It even had monkey vines in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's not much of that left. Well, they must have been pretty good at clearing the land when they went through to do all that,
Yeah,
clearing the big scrub.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how long those pine trees have been there at Wallingbar where the shop used to be.
Yeah.
There's some big pine trees there.
Yeah.
They were big, 100-foot high when I was a kid, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So, before you got you went to Swan Bay in '38, I think, was it?
It was 37. I think.
37. Were
Yeah.
you still going to school at that stage?
No.
Okay.
No, I'd finished then. I was big 15.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, what did you just work on the farm when you were at Swan Bay, or what did you do?
Yeah. I worked on the farm.
Okay.
And used to go to all the trips out the bush with Henry and Herb Williams.
Okay.
And each Christmas he gave me 10 shillings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the whole of the family was living on the farm at that stage.
At that stage, yes.
Yeah. Was Ashley still around at that time?
Yes, he was a member of the Light Horse, so at that stage, so he was going away to camps and that sort of thing.
This was before the war had started, actually, was it?
Yes, before the war had started.
Okay.
Yes, I think he went and cut a bit of cane too.
Yeah.
A couple of seasons before the war.
Okay. All right. So what was the life like there at the farm at that stage of the proceedings when you were 20 years old and all the others were growing up behind you? What did you?
Oh, it was really good, I thought.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go off to the beach every weekend, you know, go for a swim, and we'd come home from the yard of a morning. We always used to dive in and have a swim before we had breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, life wasn't bad there.
Yeah.
Money was a bit short, but...
Sure, you grew a lot of stuff on the farm.
Oh,
didn't you?
yeah.
What sort of things did you grow?
Oh, well, we always grew vegetables.
Yep.
And we always grew pumpkins, grammars and bloody watermelons.
Yeah.
And corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always had plenty of those.
They always used to keep the pumpkins on the top, on the roof of the barn. No, it was the dairy, wasn't it?
No, the barn.
The barn.
Yes, because we've built a big barn after we went there.
Yeah. Okay.
I can remember it quite well. There's all the bloody grammars and pumpkins up on it.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was illegal, but we used to shoot a few ducks now and again.
Yeah. Was it even illegal then, was it?
Oh, yes.
Why was that?
Bird sanctuary.
Oh, okay. So it was a sanctuary. That's why it was illegal. Not that shooting ducks was, but shooting them there was.
Yeah.
And fishing was always a great part of that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's a pretty good place for fish, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was. I remember Barney was going with Ronnie at the time, and he used to come down every weekend. And he said, "You think you could catch a feed of fish for us to take home?" So Ashley and I just ducked down the paddock a bit and with a spade, and we dug up them white grubs.
Yep.
Dug up a couple of dozen, and we pulled the boat over McPherson's Point, and we had 12 within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how...
Flathead, was it?
No, perch.
Perch.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how thick they were in those days.
The flathead were pretty good too, weren't they?
Oh, yes, we used to get them down the other point, towards over the roadside.
Okay.
And the perch was over McPherson's side.
Yeah.
I remember Mum and them, the flood was rising and it hadn't broken right over at the gateway.
Yeah.
So Mum was down there fishing in the bloody top end of the bay.
Yeah.
And quick as she could bait the bloody hook up, she was catching bloody perch.
Okay.
Because the dirty water had gone around,
Yeah.
and it was pushing them up into the end.
Yeah.
So they were getting short of feed. So
Yeah, that's right.
every bit of feed you threw in, they grabbed it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you because you grew stuff and you could catch fish, and I suppose that was what was on the table. So that's what you had for dinner. What was it?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Who did all the cooking?
Oh, Nana done most. Mum done most of the cooking.
Yeah.
She was a real cook, you know.
Yeah.
But you'd have. She used to get pork bones. You'd have pork bone soup, which is a delicacy.
Yeah.
And she'd get bacon bones and make pea soup. All those sort of things. And the butcher used to call once a week.
Yep.
And the baker a couple of days a week. So.
Okay. Presumably you had a what you keep things cool in the Coolgardie safe or something like that, did you?
That's right. Yeah.
No refrigerators or anything.
No refrigerators in those days. No.
Yeah.
I just forget when they got there. We got our first wireless in early 1937.
Okay.
Walden, Waldon. Bought it from a fellow in Lisbon, mate of Mum and Dad,
Okay.
We sitting there and listened to it overnight, you know.
That's right. That was a real revelation, wasn't it?
It was, yes, it was.
Yeah. Did you find out more about the outside world, like the war and things happening at that stage, more than you would have before that time? Or was it mainly just music and...
Well, we got the paper every day, no matter where we lived.
Okay.
Dad got the Northern Star every day. It was delivered
Yeah.
to the mailbox or somewhere.
Yeah.
So we always had that. But when we lived at Walling Bar, Dad would, or Mum would get me out of bed early, and it was my job to run up the road to the school,
Yep.
see Mr. Carson, he was the headmaster, and he'd write down the cricket score from England.
So how did he know the cricket score?
Well, he had a wireless.
Oh, he had a wireless.
Yeah, he had a wireless. Wares, the people we worked with,
Yep.
they had a wireless, had a bloody pole. You couldn't see to the top of it, it was that high. And, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, Ashley joined the Light Horse. You went into the army also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went in 1st of December 41.
Okay. Okay.
And I got out in February 46.
Okay. Can you maybe tell us a bit about your training, where you trained and when you left and went overseas?
Well, I didn't actually go overseas.
You didn't go overseas?
I went to Greta first,
Okay.
and they changed it from the light. I went into the Light Horse,
Yes.
became in the 15th Motor Regiment, they made it then.
Yeah.
And we were joined up with the Armour Division.
Okay.
So we done training at Singleton. We spent, shocker to my system, 4 months up at Narrabri.
Okay.
We never had a tent or anything for those 4 months.
Is that right?
We slept in the open on the ground.
Yeah.
Had a ground sheet and 2 blankets, that was it.
That was it?
That was it.
Okay.
And then they finished up, they sent us to down to Gerang, below Geelong.
Yes.
And we done the army training there for a couple of months. Then they loaded us all on the train. It took us exactly a fortnight to go from Geelong to up above Geraldton in Western Australia.
Okay.
They thought the Japs were coming down through
Okay.
from Singapore that way.
Yeah.
Well, it was 27,000 was there.
Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Amazing.
Amazing amount.
Yeah.
Yes. And before the war ended, I come back. They were going to send us to New Guinea, but I went to Canungra.
Okay.
And they made me an instructor up there in jungle warfare.
Okay.
So I finished up my time there and got out in February in 46.
Okay. When were you married? When did you get married to Audrey?
The 13th of June 1942.
Okay, so this was before you went into the army.
No, I was in the army.
You're just in the army, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. There's a
Yeah.
picture of you when you got married. You're in your uniform.
That's right, yes.
Okay, okay. And where did you meet Audrey?
At the Hibernian Hall, dance hall in Lismore.
Okay. So did you often go to the dances there?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love dancing.
Yeah.
Yes, because Audrey and I used to go till a few years back. We
Okay.
still went there. Our old musician died, Jack Papworth.
Oh yes, yes, I
Yes.
remember Jack. Yeah.
He was on radio in the early 50s.
Yeah, yeah. So before you got married, how long did you know Audrey?
3 weeks or a month.
Is that right?
That's right.
That was pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Yeah, well, it's what's her name? It's 66 years this year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then off to in the army, so she didn't get to see you very much
Yeah,
after that.
no. Well, I only had the weekend home.
Is that right?
Yeah. I've never seen her for 2.5 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you were lucky she was there when you came back.
Came back, yeah. Well, she joined the army too.
Okay.
She joined the army. She thought she might have got sent over to where I was somehow.
Okay.
It doesn't happen that way.
No, that's right. So when you got out of the army, what did you do then?
First thing I done was went and cut cane.
Okay.
Cut cane, and then I got a job on the Richmond River County Council on Noxious Weeds.
Okay.
I went on to the Hyacinth.
Yes. There was plenty of that around.
Yeah, old Sam Carroll at Corokai with me boss.
Okay. So where were you living at this stage?
Living in Woodburn?
Yes.
Yes, in River Street in Woodburn.
Okay.
So when I got on to the county council, the boss was Frank Armstrong, as he followed from Lismore. He was a pilot in the war. He was in charge of it. His wife and his wife's sister acquired a farm through their mother, and I went out and worked his farm for him.
Okay.
5 years I was there.
Yep. And when did the first of the kids come along?
Well, Lester was born in 45.
Okay.
In October 45.
Okay.
So I was home and leave 9 months before.
Coincidentally.
Coincidentally.
Okay, so and then you lived in Woodburn, and then.
Yeah, Barry was born in Woodburn.
Yep.
And then we went from Woodburn to Wongavale.
Okay.
And Robbie was born in Wongavale.
Okay.
Then we went from Wongavale to Wangry.
Yep.
Out on Uncle Bert's place.
Okay.
And Chrissy was born there.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we came down here when she was 3.
Okay.
And we've been here ever since.
Okay, to this house where we are now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when would that have been? What year was that?
59.
59. Okay. Why did you decide to come to Sydney?
Audrey's mother and father lived down here.
Yep.
And they wanted her to come down, so they said they'd look for her, find a house and for us to come down to.
Yep.
Well, they found this house and they were living in Granville, but then they shifted from Granville to that house straight behind us.
Okay. Let's keep an eye on you, I suppose, is that right?
Yeah. Well, I came down here and I got here on the Saturday. The furniture was already down here. We'd sent it down by train.
Yeah.
Audrey and them were over with their parents. On the Monday morning I went, didn't know a thing, headed over to Granville to the, what's the name, what do they call them now, where you get a job?
Oh, yeah. Employment agency.
Employment agency.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down from the station, the fellow in a pair of overalls is walking down. He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going looking for a job." He said, "Can you use a pick and shovel?" I said, "Yes, of course I bloody can." He said, "Well, don't bother going down there, you can come with me." So he brought me home here and I got me working clothes and went straight to work.
Is that right? Yeah.
And I was with him. It was a construction mob, Cassidy's Construction.
Yep.
At the time I was working with them, we were refurbishing the ground over in Clyde. Had a big ream.
Yes.
We had to do along all side the tracks and that.
Yeah.
And been there a while, and one night the fellow that sold us the house come to the back door. He said, "Will you come and work with my son as a plumber?"
Yeah.
So that's what I done. I went with him and I was with him till he died, and I done a bit of, ordinary knock around work after myself.
Yeah.
A bit of plumbing and a bit of fencing and a bit of everything like that.
Yeah.
Got our house paid for and owned the bloody thing, which is good.
Yeah.
When you don't owe any money, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Maybe we could just go back and revisit your mother and father, Nana and father.
Yeah, Mum and Dad.
Yeah, maybe you could just tell us about them. How would you describe each of them? How would you describe your father? What sort of bloke was he?
Oh, Dad he was a rather a silent type of fellow, Dad was.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't say much. And he liked to whistle and that, because he was a good musician. He could play the piano, the mouth organ and piano. And as far as the argument, I don't remember him and Mum having an argument.
Okay.
Because Mum was a placid woman.
Yes.
Very placid.
Yeah.
And they all seemed to get on extra well, you know.
Yeah, good.
And bloody kids everywhere.
Yeah.
11 of them when you work it out.
Yeah.
And,
But never got into any trouble, anyone, I suppose, did they?
no. No, there was... I don't remember any, you know, in my time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then how about your grandparents? You spoke of the Roberts side. How about that, which is the Sauls, isn't
Sauls,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. How about on your father's side? Do you remember your father's parents?
Oh, yes, yeah. They were... Granny was a bit of an old sticky beak.
Yep.
And grandfather's a quite old fella.
Yeah.
He was a good old worker, he was. Granny was a fairly big woman. She used to go milking when she must have been in the 60s. She would have been about 16 bloody stone or more. She'd sit sideways beside the cows and milk, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a fairly big family.
Yeah.
They had 10.
Okay.
And I can remember the first time I went to their place. I must have been small because my grandmother was nursing me.
Yep.
And all of a sudden there's bloody clatter on the bloody roof. And it was Uncle Harry and Auntie Mary. They give them a tin kettle after their marriage.
Yes.
The next day they were up with fishing rods getting all these bloody tins off the bloody roof. There were tins everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, having that, you had lots of uncles and aunties in that stage of proceedings, and some of them lived at Swan Bay. Was it Uncle Ab and
Uncle Ab? He wasn't our uncle.
Okay, that's
no
right.
relation.
Okay.
Uncle Arthur lived there with us.
Uncle Arthur, yes.
He was Dad's uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it or his brother?
Uncle.
His uncle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can remember. You can get some good memories, can't you?
That's right. That's for sure.
Yeah. I can remember just fiddling little things that come to my memory that happened. I can remember. Never forget it. Mum made a grandma pie, and she had it in a big glass dish out in the laundry.
Yep.
And she said to me, "You go and bring that grandma pie up." What did I do? Fell over with it. So we didn't have grandma pie. But she never touched me. It's one thing I say. Mum would just give you a clip, you know.
Yes.
Dad would come down on you, but
Yeah.
Mum wouldn't. No. Yes, dropping the bloody grandma pie.
Yeah. Well, what were some of the good times that you had when you were growing up? Maybe at Swan Bay or before that, at that stage? What can you remember?
Well, I mean, fishing was one thing we used to enjoy.
Yeah.
And going down to the neighbour's orchard, getting some bloody fresh fruit.
Okay.
They,
This wasn't in the daytime, was it?
Yeah, because he used to have the mail run.
Yep.
And you could see when he went up the road, the horse and sulky
Yeah.
in where to get. And Mum's auntie was living on that farm originally.
Yep.
And they had a grove of them little blood plums.
Yep.
That big. So every year we had bloody plums, horse and plums. The plums everywhere. And wares that the people we were working with were good for us.
Yes.
Us kids, you know. They'd always sing out here and give you a couple of biscuits, a couple of Alsayo biscuits, a couple of Arnos biscuits or something like that. Yeah.
Do you remember getting biscuits on the way to school when you were at
Yeah, Wallingbar.
at Wallingbar?
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Tommy Threshers.
Yeah.
He was a returned soldier, had one leg, Tommy. Married an English girl while he was over in England.
Okay.
And he was a very nice fellow, and that's where we used to take our bottles to get our bloody penny ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mum's sister got married 1928, and they went on to a farm at Wallingbar down that lane.
Yes.
From where the shop is.
Yes.
And I used to duck down there. Ashley went and worked for them, milking.
Okay.
And he used to come to school from there. I can remember, you know, if I had a photo and had a look at it, I could remember 90% of the school kids.
Okay.
Yeah, that went to school. Yeah. Yeah. I know one girl used to sing Girl of Moon. She's a real auburn hair. And she used to sing this song, Poor Babes in the Wood. I can still remember that clear as a bell. Yeah.
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 One of the things that I've interviewed Neil on when we were down there just recently. What we did was asked him a whole bunch of questions about individual family members, your brothers and sisters, and you know, and the first one, you know, and there's about 20 of these, but the first one, you've got to tell me who it is. Who was the best cook in the family of your brothers and sisters?
The best cook. Oh, I don't know, Roy, I think.
Roy was. Who was the hardest worker?
Hard to be me.
Yeah, okay. Who was the quietest in the family?
Neil.
Okay. Who had the best memory? I'd give that one to yourself, would you?
Yeah, I'll stick to myself, yeah.
Stick to yourself with that one. Who was the best gardener?
Oh, well, I used to have to do the gardening. So
Yeah.
most of the gardening would be me too. That's terrible to look after yourself, isn't it?
Who was the funniest?
Oh, I think Barry.
Barry.
Yeah.
Any particular memories of why he would be the funniest?
Well, even Chrissy
Yes.
was wrapped in him because he was up at the farm, and him and Nellie will live there, and Chrissy was over in the yard, and Barry somehow would always get him to walk in a cow shed. Just say, take a step backwards or something. He'd always catch him. Yes.
All right. Who was the best looking?
Yeah, well, they're different looking fellas, weren't they?
Well, you better pick some of your sisters too,
Yeah.
you'll be in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think between Lola and Jessie.
Okay. Who was the animal lover? Who liked animals the best?
That'd be Barry.
Be Barry. Okay. Who was the most mischievous?
Him again.
Him again.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he gets a Guernsey for a few. Who was the calmest?
Ashley'd be the calmest.
Okay. The best athlete or the best sportsman?
Well, Barry's a good athlete.
Yeah.
Ashley was a pretty fair athlete too, although I could never beat him running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was the most intelligent of them all?
Oh, that depends on the fellows that got the chance to go to high school. But no such thing when I was going.
Well, true, but you know, there's...
Well, I'll tell you something. There was 5 of us going to school at Caniba.
Yeah.
And there was about 50 odd kids in that school. And you know, you have your half yearly and that.
Yeah.
5 watts came first.
Is that right?
That's right.
Well, that only goes to show, doesn't it?
That goes to show.
Just goes to show. The most creative.
Now you got me there. Which one I'd pick for that?
All right, we might move on. Who was the biggest tease? Probably Barry again.
Barry again. Yes. Yes.
Okay. The best housekeeper?
I think Major Margaret, I think.
Okay. All right. The most relaxed?
Yeah, Gordy, I think.
Okay. The most frugal?
That's the same spot again, I think. They were pretty frugal.
Okay, who was the most generous?
Generous. You couldn't beat Roy in lots of things, you know.
Okay. All right. And the best storyteller?
Oh, Barry was.
Yeah.
He was smart.
Yeah.
And Roy's a tricky fella too, you know.
Yeah.
He was very smart.
Yeah.
If you want a yarn, he always had it.
All right, that's the end of the list.
How did I go anywhere near him?
Well, it's a different. I think you would have get a different list. So I haven't asked Mum yet, so we'll have to see how we go with that one. So, yeah.
Yes, and Ashley was a loner.
Yeah.
He wasn't sort of
Yeah.
with the rest of the family, because he was that bit older, and he always seemed to be that bit older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. In the times you've been in Sydney, what are some of the interesting and good times you had when you've been down here?
Oh, well, mostly have good times with the dances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful dance, because we had a couple of weeks to go to.
Yes.
We used to go to Auburn, we used to go to Granville.
Yep.
Yeah. We've been up to Wallachia a few times.
Yep.
A few trips up there.
Yep.
And we used to go out to Auntie Eva's, she was a soul.
Yep.
She was out at Menangle.
Yep.
Menangle Park. They both got their graves in Menangle Park.
Okay.
You wouldn't credit, would you?
No.
And the funny thing, our GOC was General MacArthur Onslow, the fellow that owns it.
Yeah.
He was our GOC in the army.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, good on. Alrighty, is there any other particular story that you might like to tell, or that you wanted to relate at some stage that we would?
I would like to mention Barry. How lucky he was
Yeah.
to be where he is today.
Yeah.
You got to thank somebody for that, haven't you?
Yeah.
You're lucky he's alive today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got his own little house now. He's got his own house and
Yes.
2 blocks of ground.
Yep.
And he's there, got a there's a big, what's the name, a caravan park up there now, and the cook at the caravan park cooked his tea for him every night. So he's another kind of Barry. Got
His namesake, you got the right name right.
Right name. Yeah, you got the right name, yes. Yeah.
Alrighty, okay. Well, I'm not sure. I think that's probably, I've just about finished any of the sort of questions or the tracks that I was following, but that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can still remember the first drunk I ever seen.
Yeah.
An old A model Ford.
Yeah.
He pitched it from Olsenville, and out in front of our house at Wallingbar, there was a bloody lantana, bloody 15 foot high, and he run into that. and he couldn't get out. The coppers come and got him. I remember the coppers coming to the school and everybody was bloody shivering. It's fair dinkum about people. You were that frightened of bloody police.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every few years there used to be half a dozen apprentices come from England to work on the experimental farm.
Yep.
And I can remember them they used to get out the front of their quarters and sing of a bloody night. But the last time I remember, I went past, had a look. They climbed up a Norfolk pine.
Yep.
And I didn't think they had bikes in them times, but Dad had a bike in that time. I don't know what he ever had it for. But they put a wheel on right up on the top of the bloody pine tree. That was there for years and years and years. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, we might call it a halt there, eh?
Hey, righto. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Dad couldn't have been born then when they took that.
He's the youngest, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a baby, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think that they were, embarrassed.
I know there was 10 in the family.
Oh, I didn't know that many. I didn't get that about 88, he was Tom.
How's Johnny?
Oh, yeah, good flat out. We were doing things with the cross, getting all the cane and then cross all the cane.
Yes, wasn't that awful?
Now the blood got the last bit he was going to cut, so that was,
Yeah.
Terrible. So I said to Dad, when it flooded, I said, probably got Johnny's cane.
oh, I don't know what that
Where that
was.
thing in is, isn't
I
it?
found it, yeah,
Yeah.
out of Frederick.
No, and where that thing's in it.
Yeah,
That's
here.
where that
Yeah,
is,
look,
yeah.
yeah, I saw it, you saw it.
Like a lab there.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh,
lab
that
with
was
Dad.
the Clark, I couldn't think who it was.